Hello guys and welcome to week 8 of the Russian Football News Predictions League. I tell you what, last week was remarkable for a number of reasons. On the actual pitch itself, Zenit lost, shock defeat to Ufa. There are now 5 teams level on 14 points and another 2 only 1 point behind. The top 7 separated by only 1 point. It's nearly half the table. Absolutely brilliant. The Predictions League itself, the leaderboard has been updated. Find the usual link and you'll see it all in there. We had an average score of 7.7. Something like nearly 20 people scored 10 points or more. It's just, I don't think I've seen a week quite like it. And we still have 45 players, so it's not just a small sample. So well done everybody, and well done Russian Premier League for exciting us. João Mario has signed for Lokomotiv on loan. I mean, the big names are starting to come back to Russia. This has been some window already. Anyhow, let's crack on with the last round of fixtures before the international break. And first up, we have on Friday night, tomorrow night, Krylia Sovietov against Dynamo Moscow. Last weekend, Krylia were beaten by Spartak Moscow, but they made them work for it. So it wasn't the worst performance of all time by any means. It was an added time winner, in fact, for Spartak Moscow. 2 new boys scoring, Gus Thiel and Jordan Larson. And that man, Alexander Sobolev, scored again. Top scorer in the league still. 6 goals in 7 games and 2 assists, no less. He is outperforming his XG, for those of you interested, by some distance, though. So some people are saying it's not sustainable. At the moment, though, who cares? His form is incredible. Dynamo Moscow, they were away to Tambov. A solid 2-0 win for them. Maximilian Philipp scored again, 2nd goal in 2 games. So what do we fancy here? I actually feel like Krylia, again, I've said this a number of times this season already, they have performed better than the results suggest. They made Spartak Moscow, possibly the most informed club in the league at the moment, sweat for their win, and were holding them right up until the 90th minute, 91st minute. And I'm going to go for a similar performance and a slightly better result. I'm going to go for a draw here in this game. I think there will be goals, so I'm not going to go for a 0-0. I'm going to go for a 1-1. Okay, so that is our Friday night fixture. So don't forget, get your predictions in nice and early. Second up, we have Ufa at home to Orenburg. Well, Ufa, you can't say much more than how buzzing they are to have beaten Zenit. That's some form, some momentum to take into this game. Orenburg, well, they lost last weekend 2-1 away to Arsenal Tula. They're still scoring, but they're still losing. They are bottom of the table, haven't won all season, only they and Sochi are yet to win. 7 goals in 7 games is not the worst. They actually have outscored almost half the league, so they're not doing too badly on that front, but they are conceding a lot. They are just still regularly losing. So I think Ufa are just going to keep going. I think they're going to win this one. Ufa themselves, they have only scored 9 goals in 7 games, so they're not blazing away with any games. And don't forget, 6 of those goals came in defeats early on in the season. I am going to go for just a very simple 1-0 win to Ufa. Moving on, we have Rubin Kazan at home to Sochi. Well, Rubin, fast becoming most neutrals' favourite club, and they were perhaps marginally unfortunate to lose 2-1 to Rostov away from home. Rostov, I wouldn't say hit a sticky patch, but their blistering early season form is just ever so slightly gone off the boil. Eldor Shomurodov scored with quite a big deflection, so it's slightly unfortunate in that sense. But Rubin, they are comfortably in mid-table, only 4 points off the top of the table. And they still are struggling to score, but are still very tight at the back. So it's pretty much business as usual, I'd say. They've only conceded 5 goals all season, which is one of the best defensive records in the league. Sochi, they did score at the weekend. Anton Zabolotny, he tapped in from a few yards. A cross was deflected into his path. So again, Sochi didn't look too bad, but a lot of their passes were just very wayward, and I still think it's a work in progress there. They will end up scoring a few more than they have. Their scoring rate is atrocious, 2 goals in 7 games. But I think Rubin are far too well organised for them at the moment. There is slight talk of Yegor Sorokin being on the radar of Krasnodar. It's not happened as of yet, certainly not officially. But I still think Rubin are solid enough to pull off a simple win. You know what I'm going to say here. Rubin are not scoring a lot. 1-0 to Rubin. That is my prediction there. Okay. Lokomotiv at home to Rostov. 2 of the 5 teams level on points at the top of the table. Lokomotiv have signed João Mario on loan from Inter Milan. And it's looking more and more promising. I have to be honest, Lokomotiv, I'm quietly confident they will get straight back into the Champions League at the end of the season. They have reinforced very well there with João Mario. Last weekend, Lokomotiv were away to Krasnodar. They came away with a 1-1 draw. Very creditable results. And Krasnodar actually go top of the table on that result. But this game, how do we see this? Well, like I say, Rostov, it sounds very harsh, but I do think, and considering they are level on points at the top of the table in this group of 5, I do think the explosiveness has slightly dissipated out of their form. And I do think Lokomotiv are going to do what Lokomotiv are famous for doing, and that is grinding out results. I think Lokomotiv are going to win this one. But how many goals? You know what? Actually, I kind of fancy a few goals in this one. I'm going to go for 2-1 to Lokomotiv. Shomurodov again scored. He's on 5 goals for the season, I think it is. Last weekend. Lokomotiv, well, they will always create chances when they have the Miranchuk twins and, of course, now, Mario to complement. I'm going to go for 2-1 to Lokomotiv there. Okay, Akhmat Grozny at home to Tambov. Not exactly a fixture to set the pulses racing. Last weekend, we had Akhmat away to TSK, and they were basically taken apart 3-0. Routine win for TSK. They rely on the sheer brutal energy and pace of Bernard Berisha a little too much, to be honest, for my liking, Akhmat. However, they have had some interesting results this season. They have beat Krasnodar at home, don't forget, at the beginning of the season. Tambov, Tambov were beaten by Dynamo Moscow at home. It's not really a desperately impressive game. Yes, okay, Dynamo Moscow have reinforced. They are much stronger. Maximilian Philipp, Clinton and G have come in, of course, amongst others, Sebastian Szymanski. But still, to lose like that at home to Dynamo Moscow, it doesn't exactly set up their chances for winning away from home desperately well. So I'm going to go for an Akhmat win in this one. Rizvan Utsiev is back from suspension, home team captain. Small added bonus for them. So I'm going to go for a win. I'm just going to go for 1-0. It's not thrilling, I know, but then neither of these two sides. Now, what am I talking about? You know what? No, I'm not going to go for 1-0. I'm going to up it. I'm going to go for 2-1. I'm going for a lot of these 2-1 wins because a lot of sides are scoring slightly, shall we say, unexpectedly. It's a bit of a risk this to say 2-1 because they haven't been free scoring this season. They are, at the moment, only on 4 goals for the season. In fact, only one team has scored fewer. So you might be saying, well, why the hell are you going for 2-1? Well, that's because of Tambov. 11 goals conceded this season. And I don't know. I just get the feeling that Akhmat will realise this is an opportunity that they cannot miss. I'm going to go for 2-1 in this one. Okay, Ural Yekaterinburg at home to Krasnodar. Now, I've been biased in favour of Ural for a long time, and I was there in Yekaterinburg on Monday for the 3-1 win over Sochi, and Ural were very impressive. They look far more cohesive than they have in recent weeks. They hadn't won in 4 games before that. Don't forget. They have conceded more goals than any other side in the league, though. And this is Krasnodar. Now, I'm going to regret this, but I'm finally going to predict Ural to lose. Now, it's weird. I would say that after a reasonably impressive 3-1 win over Sochi, scoring 3 goals again, Eric Falvian the goals again. But this, like I say, this is Krasnodar. Udal are not hard to unpick if you can get at their defence. If you are relatively unimaginative, then like sides like Akhmat and Sochi, they don't pose a great creative threat, then Udal can be impressive. But Krasnodar are far better than that. They are, well, they're the top of the table for a reason. Simple as that. So how do we see this going? Scoreline, tough to call really. It's hard to say that Udal are not going to score when they have the top scorers in the league. They've scored 3 goals on three separate occasions at home already this season. So I do think they'll get 1, but I think Krasnodar will get 2. So I'm going to go 2-1 to Krasnodar. Hedging my bets a lot with a lot of teams, both teams to score in this one this week. Arsenal Tula at home to CSKA next up. Now, Arsenal Tula, well, what a worldly from Yevgeny Lutsenko. Just have a look at this on Twitter or social media. It's a beautiful little flick and a lovely finish. That earned them the 2-1 win over Orenburg. CSKA, well, they also looked in impressive form. Like I mentioned, they took apart Akhmat Grozny 3-0 at home. So, again, how do we see this one going? Well, I think CSKA are going to win this one. I say that for a couple of reasons. One, because Fyodor Chalov scored again, and it's important for your main strikers to start putting chances away. He has been, I'd say, ever so slightly underperforming in front of goal this season, but he's now on 3 goals and 2 assists for the season. He's starting to get back into the goals. But also, Arsenal Tula, they have relied, like I say, on, for example, Yevgeny Lutsenko's worldly goal. It is a fabulous, fabulous finish. It wasn't them carving teams open. So I'm going to go for CSKA to win this one. And I think there'll be a lot of goals in this one too. It's hard to say if I think CSKA can keep a clean sheet. I'm not entirely convinced they will. So again, I'm going to go for yet another 2-1 win, this time to CSKA. We'll see how that one turns out. All right, this is a big one. Spartak Moscow at home to Zenit. Now, the form Spartak are in, and with the, well, humiliating almost, it's a bit harsh, a bit condescending to Ufa, that disappointing loss away to Ufa for Zenit, you've got to say Spartak will be chomping at the bit to get into this one. And I really do think they're going to win it. They have Europa League tonight. It is at home, though. And they're at home for this game, of course, at the Krita Arena. So travel won't be too much of a problem. And also, Goose Teal and Jordan Larson will be rested because they cannot play on Thursday. So that's going to be a factor too. Goose Teal will be vital in this game, I think. I think Spartak are going to win it. I think it's going to be tense, though. I don't think it's going to be a huge scoring one. So I'm going to go for a Spartak 1-0 win in this one. It's going to be huge. And Zenit, of course, they'll be hurting from their loss away to Ufa, but it is another away game for them, and I just think the pressure is ever so slightly starting to mount on them already. I know it's only 7 games in, but that loss to Ufa is going to be costly for them, I think. All right, there we go. That is week 8, guys. Thank you for joining me. Get your predictions in nice and quickly. We've only got a day. I'm sorry, I should have probably done this a day earlier. But we do have the international break to come, and after the international break, we will be introducing the Predictions Cup. Now, this is it's nothing extra to this. It's you do your predictions as usual, but you simply pay an entry fee. That will be done by PayPal. I'll explain more details, but the basic point is there's an entry fee, and there will be cash prizes for, depending on how many people enter, at least for the winner, of course, but also on maybe 2nd, 3rd and 4th places, depending on how many people enter, like I say. But more details will come out for that later. For now, get your predictions in. Good luck, guys, and let's see if we can boost and beat last week's epic week in the Predictions League.